12, I think I was 11.
When
I
World War
was
II
born in
started?
1930, and it was started in 1941, but in December of 41. So I was 11.
Oh. Hey YouTube, History Trackers here. Today we're gonna go back to what I originally started this channel for anyways, and that was to basically track some history. I'm gonna take like a silver bar or an old coin maybe. Um, Hell, I even have an old luggage tag that I'm gonna do a video on, and gonna track history, maybe find out some little tidbits of information that people may not know about certain things, such as this little guy. Might think it's just a little silver bar. It does say minted from U.S. Strategic Stockpile Silver. But yeah, we're going to get into that here in a little bit. Stay tuned. Okay, this little baby here has some historic significance, believe it or not. Even though it's not technically a government issued piece, it's minted from U.S. Strategic Stockpile Silver, formerly stored at U.S. Assay Office, San Francisco. The CC here stands for Continental Coin Company, 1981 there. 999 fine silver. There's an eagle here with a flag. 5 troy ounces. Now there's two different varieties of this. One of them just spells out 5 instead of having the number 5. Now these were released in 1981. The government released it to kind of drive the price of silver back down after the Hunt brothers tried to corner the market. They started buying silver in 1970 and bought very heavily till 1978. They had acquired 37,000 1,000 ounce bars. Yeah, quite a bit. 37 million ounces. So at today's value, at $29.95 an ounce, it's 1 billion with a B, $108,150,000. When the price of silver was at its highest, there it was at 1,801,900,000,000. Now they released that to drive the price of silver down, but that's not as far back as this goes. This was stored in the stockpile there for a reason. So we're gonna track history back even further, see where this originally came from before that. Okay, our next step back in history is to 1942, to the Manhattan Project. Now, there was a colonel called James C. Marshall. He was in charge of the Manhattan Project, and he was kind of the ultimate guy to answer to. How would that be? If somebody approaches you and says, "Hey, we want to build a bomb that'll just blow shit to smithereens and melt people's faces off. You want to be in charge of that?" And, yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, anyways. He was in charge of that for a while until he was replaced by Leslie Groves. That was later in 1942. But James Marshall stayed on as a district engineer until he was replaced by Kenneth Nichols in 1943. At some point in 1942, there was a meeting set up between Assistant Treasury Secretary Daniel Bell. Basically, they got this meeting set up thanks to a letter from Albert Einstein that suggested that they use some of this nuclear energy to try to end the war. I don't think he quite knew what was going to happen with all that, but yeah. Anyways, the Colonel Nichols went to a meeting with Daniel Bell, and I want to read part of this from the internet here. I think it's kind of funny. Um, Apparently, Colonel Nichols had written a book called "The Road to Trinity." He was referring to this in an interview. He says, as a result, on August 3rd, I visited Assistant Secretary of the Treasury Daniel Bell. He explained the procedure for transferring the silver and asked, how much do you need? I replied, 6,000 tons. How many troy ounces is that? He asked. In fact, I did not know how to convert tons to troy ounces, and neither did he. A little impatient, I responded, I don't know how many troy ounces we need, but I know I need 6,000 tons. That is a definite quantity. What difference does it make how we express the quantity? he replied rather indignantly, young man, you may think of silver in tons, but the Treasury will always think of silver in troy ounces. Pretty interesting. But yeah, they got this silver. They were using copper, apparently, to do this. And we know copper is needed for ammo, making shells, a lot of different uses in the war. In fact, I think it's kind of interesting. I thought about it, like in 1943, they had pulled all the copper out of the pennies used and were making steel pennies. So I was kind of wondering, when they pulled all that copper out, were they using it to to initially use this in the Manhattan Project, and then realize that with the silver it was going to turn out better and they could have the copper back, and they put it back into production in 1944. I don't know, almost seems like they would have kept the copper for the war effort throughout the whole war. But yeah. Okay, and now I want to go back into the house and have a little chat with a special guest, somebody that was around during World War II. Stay tuned.
Well,
wait, you're how old? 11 or 12?
11 or 12, I think it was 11.
When World War II
I was born in
started?
1930, and it was started in 1941, but in December of 41, so I was 11.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was talking in my video about like how they needed copper for the war effort and stuff, so they were using silver to separate uranium instead of this copper because they needed it for war. I was wondering if you remember or saw a video one time when I was in junior high where like the public would get together and throw like pots and pans and stuff all in the street, and then
I don't remember throwing them in the street, but
they would build like big piles of like cast iron or whatever, and then the government would come along and scoop up all this stuff and take it to build tanks and weapons and stuff.
Oh yeah. We had our neighbor down the street that was forgot what they called him, some title he had that took care of things like that would let people in the neighborhood know when to get stuff out so that they could pick it up.
Oh, huh. Okay, so there was like a dedicated guy where...
Yeah, Mr. Philippeau. That was his name.
Oh, huh. I'll be damned. That's weird. I didn't know they had like... Yeah, some communities had just like one dedicated guy to do it.
Yeah, I don't remember his title, but they did have a name that they called him, but I don't... Good names, of course, but not bad names. But yeah, so he was the one that took care of that.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. I might get with you if I think of more questions.
Well, that was it?
well, for now, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, if I think of more stuff, I'll come back in here and ask you.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Grandma.
Well, you're welcome.
You remember where you were at when Pearl Harbor was bombed? You said
Yeah,
where?
in the car on a ride.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
with your dad.
My grandfather,
Oh
our grandparents brought us up, so
okay.
yeah. So it was kind of a shock, you know. To think that because we had Japanese people that had a kind of a settlement about 5 blocks from us. They lived on the river, and so then all of a sudden the people hated hated the neighbors, and we didn't because we had a couple of our childhood friends that but they were that we loved, you know, that we were good friends with, so that
Yeah.
we didn't have any hatred that way. But they did take them. They relocated them to their camps in California,
Oh
so that the bad Japanese people couldn't do some bad stuff, which they
yeah.
wouldn't, because they were, in fact, one of the sons served in World War II but they didn't have him in Japan or anything. They had him. He was served in Italy and fought in Germany.
Oh okay.
So he was a hero.
Yeah.
Thank goodness he came through alive.
Yeah.
So there's little things that you know that you remember.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of a big one though.
Well, yeah, yeah, it was to us. And they took our friend and.
That's probably just like you probably remember when JFK was shot too, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Safeway.
Safeway?
Shopping in Safeway when they announced it over the loudspeaker.
Oh, huh.
When it happened, and so there were people that cried, and you know, that were crying and whatnot, and
Yeah.
so I just quit shopping and got checked out and went home.
Yeah. I remember where I was at when the space shuttle exploded.
Oh yeah.
And then like I remember when the World Trade Center was hit with the airplanes.
Oh yeah, I remember that too, but I don't remember what I was doing.
All right. If I think of more questions, I'll come back.
Okay, if I remember.
You seem to be doing pretty good.
Yeah, well, you know, it was quite an event.
Yeah. You seem to do pretty good with your memory, as far as I can tell.
Well, yeah, the long-term memory. It's the
Yeah.
short-term memory that I have a problem with.
Yeah. I'm 53 and I have the same problem.
Oh gosh.
So.
Well, you still got.
So you still have the mind of a 53-year-old, Grandma.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed that. That was my wife's grandma, Arlene. You know, like she said, she was 94. She moved in with us recently. She was living in Everett, Washington, which is, you know, good-sized city. And she was still driving around and, you know, doing her own grocery shopping and, you know, doing well. But like she said, she was starting to have a little memory problems and stuff. So we decided it was time to get her moved in with us before some minor thing was a big damn thing, you know. So, but yeah, what I was asking her about there was they call them scrap metal drives, and she couldn't remember what the guy's official title was. She thought he was the district manager or, you know, some such thing, but she said that he was involved with making sure everybody had blackout curtains and stuff, because you know, Seattle and Everett being right there on the water, you know, wide open to enemy attacks. So that same person was in charge of the blackout curtains and all of that stuff. But yeah, put some pictures right here of the scrap metal drives that I find online. So next we'll go into how much silver they actually used. Okay, they had originally requested the 6,000 tons of silver, but it was they ended up getting 14,700 tons. So crazy. But they ended up making these into rolled strips that were 5/8 inch thick, 3 inches wide, and about 40 feet long. Crazy how much silver they used, but they actually ended up returning almost all of it from what I'm reading here. Now the strips that they cut, they use these in magnets, I guess. There was some kind of a magnetic machine called a calutron, and it was used to separate uranium-235 from uranium-238. Okay, anyways, after the explosion and everything ended, then Einstein steps in and he says, "Holy shit, what the fuck was that?" And then all of a sudden they go to return the silver, and they only lost 1/36,000th of 1% out of 14,700 tons. I don't know how many ounces that would be. Maybe somebody that's good with math can figure that, but it's got to be, I don't know, maybe an ounce, if that. Just a guess. If somebody's bored and wants to figure that out, by all means go for it. Anyways, they returned all that silver to him, and then later on, like I said, the government sold it off to companies to, drive the price of silver back down. Continental Coin Company being one of them. I don't know what the others were, but I'm sure there were others. These people seem to be the ones that wanted to advertise it the most. But yeah, all right, I guess we're done here. If you like what you see, hit like and subscribe, and we will track down some more history together. Thanks for watching, everybody.